Hello and welcome back to our weekly news program, The Voice of East Turkestan, established by the exiled East Turkestan government. Tomomi Shinzo, a Japanese manga artist, soon will be publishing stories of camp survivors. The US is banning cotton and tomato products coming from East Turkestan. The French president strongly condemns the Chinese oppression in East Turkestan. A possibility of having a severe food crisis in China. TikTok and WeChat threaten media's freedom internationally. Shootings for the first time in 45 years on the Chinese-Indian borders. The Japanese manga artist Tomomi Shinzo reported to the Japanese and international community about the plight of Uyghurs in East Turkestan through cartoon narratives, also known as manga, written about the witnesses of the concentration camps. Mrs. Gülistan, an Uyghur activist in Japan, assisted Tomomi in publishing the manga by translating the witnesses of the detention centers into Japanese. Mrs. Gülistan said that Tomomi's illustrations did not only serve us in the Japanese media, but also internationally. It was present in each Uyghur protest and other activities that were organized by the Uyghurs in Japan. Tomomi received a high response after publishing her first manga, titled What Happened to Me? The Testimony of an Uyghur Woman, which was written about the testimony of a detainee victim, Mihrigul Tursun. As she searches for inspiration to continue writing witness stories, she was moved to watch the video of Gulbahar Jalilova detailed testimony in October 2019. She said that Gulbahar's mentioning the names of more than 200 women and their family names who were sent to the camps is a treasure that cannot be found. New publications about the stories of the arrested witnesses are expected to be released next October. Recently, Ms. Tomomi's manga entitled Uyghurs, which she announced 2 years ago, has been translated into many languages, including English, Turkish, Italian, and French, by some of the volunteer translators. According to reports, the US government is considering to ban China from importing some or all of its cotton products from East Turkestan. In case it was proven that the cotton products have been subjected to forced labor, they are entitled to re-export or destroy the goods in accordance with their order. The agency has imposed strict restrictions on companies previously suspected of involvement in the exploitation of Uyghurs in East Turkestan. Knowing that East Turkestan is the main exporter of cotton, textiles, petrochemicals, and other products of Chinese factories, many of the world's leading clothing brands rely on the Chinese supply chain. And 1/5 of the cotton garments sold in the world are known to contain either cotton or East Turkestan threads. Once the ban is enforced, production lines will be transferred by major international apparel manufacturers to other countries such as Vietnam, Bengal, and Indonesia. The French President Macron wrote a letter to French lawmakers, urging the French authorities to respond strongly to China's repressive policies in East Turkestan and to hand China over to the International Criminal Court and sue it for its crimes against humanity. More than 30 French lawmakers led by Ariel Tachet co-signed the letter condemning China, and the contents of the letter were made public. According to a French press agency, Macron stated that China's repression of the Uyghurs in East Turkestan is unacceptable. He also explained that the suppression of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Muslim minorities in East Turkestan, the widespread detention in concentration camps, the enforced sterilization, the mass arrests, the destruction of Uyghurs' cultural heritage, especially the religious sites, and the widespread surveillance of the people are all major concerns that do not line with the internationally recognized agreements. Macron affirmed that France would continue to pay attention to the situation in Turkestan and will be taking the necessary measures. He said that the Uyghur issue would be raised specially in the United Nations and that they would try to divert their attention to the issue of East Turkestan. A month ago, the French foreign minister stressed the need for the international community to send an independent investigation team to East Turkestan to inform the Uyghurs in the diaspora on the status there. China, that was heavily affected by its virus, recently also suffered from desert locusts and bamboo locusts as it continues to suffer from floods. Some foreign media quoted the villagers affected by the disaster who said that the severity of the disease was more than expected. With severe food shortages in some areas and the shortage of international supplies, which could lead China to a severe food crisis in China. In the past, sandy locusts used to migrate from Africa to Asia and thus go through southern China. However, recently the number of devastating robust bamboo locusts that moved from Laos to the southwestern borders of China has been extremely high, with the worst locust plague in decades in Yunnan province with 30 to 40 locusts per stalk of corn. According to Chinese media reports, the height of the yellow bamboo locust is about 200 meters, the airflow is up to 600 meters, and the migration rate is very fast, with a large number of them as if the sky was covered with black clouds. As a mountainous region in Yunnan, it was difficult to control swarms of mobile locusts, leaving local governments and farmers without solutions. Reuters revealed earlier that the corn shortage in China could reach 30 million tons this year, accounting for about 10% of total production. Statistics show that the white purchases in Hebei and Jiangsu this summer are down nearly 30%. This is in addition to an acute shortage of pork in China due to African swine fever, while China is continuing to exhaust or reorganize the international supply chain after the Chinese virus has spread around the world. This raises the outside world's concerns about the potential food crisis in China. Before the Trump administration took an order to ban foreign copies of the Chinese social media applications TikTok and WeChat, a large Australian think tank issued a report saying that the foreign versions of TikTok and WeChat threatens free speech around the world, including the issues that have been long discussed publicly in the West, such as the support for democracy and the struggle for the LGBT rights. All have been shown to be banned on these two platforms. German media reported earlier that no content and videos relating to the Xinjiang liberation and Uyghurs or cultural disappearance were found in TikTok, in which TikTok showed empty results as a technical failure. According to experts from Australian Institute of Strategic Policy, since August 8 this year, only 5.6% of the videos on TikTok criticized China's policy on East Turkistan, with only one commentator in the top 20 videos. The link provided by these platforms is enormous in determining the content they provide to users, such as how to classify sensitive topics, how to deal with terrorist organizations, ban drugs, and profane words, to other topics that China considers prohibited, pointing to the Error 404 mark as pages that cannot be found. The report also stated that the most discussed topics were religious freedom and China's destruction of the Uyghurs and other Muslim countries, with at least 3 articles on the Uyghur issue investigated on the US Embassy in China account on the WeChat app. And starting from September 15th, the US government's order to block foreign versions of TikTok and WeChat shall be applied. The Indian Army issued a statement saying that on September 7th, the Indian forces were withdrawn due to border skirmishes by deliberately encroaching on Panjung Lake on the border between the two countries, and the Chinese government claimed that its encroachment was a matter of warning to the Indian forces. This was the first time encroachment in 45 years, and it involved firing on both fronts at the Sino-Indian border. The Indian Army said in a statement on September 8 that the Chinese military had attempted to confuse domestic and international public opinion in the Western War Zone statement, saying that the Indian forces had never crossed the operational line of control and had not engaged in aggressive acts such as shootings. On September 7th incident, a stern warning was sent from the Indian military leaders to the Chinese army, which is stationed near the line of control. The Chinese trespassing soldiers threatened the border forces of India by shooting them. The Indian military forces issued a statement confirming Indian Army's readiness to protect the sovereignty and security of the country at any cost. Military experts from the two countries analyzed that a series of incidents during the past few months showed that the situation on the borders is unpredictable, as the two sides issue decisions that are indifferent to the consequences, and that the soldiers are acting randomly without being authorized. So both can be the cause to a war whose losses can never be ensured. So far, no casualties have been reported during the exchange of fire between the two sides, but the two relations between the two sides are sure to get more tense. Thank you for watching. See you next week.